On this day in 1834, the first lesbian marriage happened in the UK. That's right, 1834. This is the story of Anne Lister and Anne Walker. Now, you may have heard of Anne Lister because she was portrayed by Saran Jones in the TV show Gentleman Jack. She was born in 1791 and she was a wealthy businesswoman and diarist. She's referred to as the first modern lesbian. This was because she kept a 5 million word diary in which she wrote frankly and graphically about banging her way around Yorkshire's fine ladies. 1/6 of the diary was in code, the raunchy bits, obviously. And she was quite comfortable in her sexuality. When she was 26, she wrote, "I love and only love the fairer sex, and thus, beloved by them, in turn my heart revolts from any other love than theirs." But then, as an educated and independently wealthy woman, she was able to be, and good for her. In 1832, when Lister was 41, she began pursuing the 29-year-old Anne Walker. Walker's family were obviously furious, but the pair began living openly as a couple in 1834 at Lister's residence in Halifax, Shibden Hall. The two Annes had previously exchanged rings and marriage vows. They then attended the Easter Sunday service at Holy Trinity Church in Goodram Gate in York on this day in 1834. Receiving communion side by side was interpreted by the couple as a blessing of their union. The two then toured Europe extensively at a time when being a woman out unaccompanied was considered weird, never mind travelling abroad. They climbed mountains in dresses, they visited Spain, France, Switzerland, the Netherlands, Denmark, Sweden, Russia, Norway. An impressive travel itinerary now when we have planes, but they were doing this in a horse and carriage. Lister was the driving force behind the travel. I think that Anne Walker would have much preferred to stay at home, but alas, when the couple were travelling through Georgia, Lister was bitten by an insect and she died of a fever at the age of 49. Anne Walker was allowed to stay at Shibden Hall for the rest of her life, but she was declared of unsound mind and she returned to her family home where she died 14 years after Anne Lister. In 2018, a rainbow plaque was unveiled at Holy Trinity Church in York commemorating the two Annes' union. It's unclear whether the church knew what they were doing at the time of the union, but I'm glad that they're proud of their history now. And I don't know if it is fair to say, really, that this was the first lesbian wedding, but it's also not the first. Either way, this is an inspiring story of two people being exactly who they were at a time when this wasn't what was done. And granted, they got the privilege of generational wealth on their side, but I think we could all take a leaf from their book and just care a little bit less about what other people think of us. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Why not subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.